At the moment, we're using Font Awesome 4. We may as well use the current version. I try to keep these classes basically as up to date as I can. We are using the latest version of React. We will eventually use some features that are only found in the latest version, especially when that's totally the way I would do it now. That's why we're talking about CSS and JavaScript, because the fact is, in the wild, that's how a lot of people are doing it. So it's worth seeing it, even though it's not necessarily the focus of the class. So if we're going to use something like Font Awesome, you may as well use the latest version. So let's see about that. Right now in app CSS, we're just importing Font Awesome from CDN.js. CDN.js does not have Font Awesome 5. But we're going to stop importing Font Awesome 4. We'll just get rid of that for now. And we'll see our icon break for the sign out button. Very sad. But let's go to the Font Awesome website. Let's go to Get Started. Now, in my opinion, they've hidden what you really need to know slightly behind an awful lot of text. One thing, they put Pro front and center, which I understand. Need to make money. But little tiny letters here, you see free. So switch to free, and there is, in fact, a CDN for it. They have their own CDN. So we could do that, and that would use a font icon, an icon font, just like the previous version, where there's this font that has a bunch of glyphs in Unicode space, otherwise unused Unicode space. But Font Awesome 5, one of the cool things about it is now you can use SVGs instead. SVGs, like fonts, are vector images. They have some accessibility advantages. You don't have to put any meaningless glyphs on the page. You're basically just putting an image on the page. So let's use the SVG version. So select SVG with it, JS. Click on free here. And then it gives us a script tag to copy. So copy that. I'm going to paste this in Slack so you don't have to go out to the website yourself. Though you'll probably want to go to the website to look up the icons anyway. So we have a script tag. Where do we put that? Where do you put script tags? Need to put in our actual HTML. So we'll get index.html and we'll paste it in there. Now it says inserted into the head of the document. We're used to putting it at the end, but this isn't messing with the DOM, so or it's not going to have an issue messing with the DOM, so we can probably put it in the head and be fine. Whatever you want to do. So it says put it in the head. We can follow the documentation, sure. So I'll paste all that in there. So far, what's that get us? Now, instead of nothing showing up, I get this animated exclamation mark, question mark. Kind of a cool new feature. If you use Font Awesome and point at an invalid icon, this is what it does. So it kind of catches your attention, like, hey, you screwed up. Because we're using the Font Awesome 4 syntax, and this is Font Awesome 5. So it says, find the right icon for the job and learn how to add it in your markup. So here's a difference. The class is now FAS, not just FA. And that's because there's now multiple styles. There's solid, regular, light, and brands. So FAS, that would be solid. So back in sidebar, where I have my icon, so class name, instead of FA, I'll say FAS. Still didn't fix it because they changed the name of the icon too. So here's the list of icons. I'm going to switch to free only. And let's look for sign out. There you go. It's called sign out alt now. So FA sign out alt. There it is. And if we inspect it, we'll see that it's actually an SVG. It is a slightly different icon. One of the other things that they did in the new version is they redrew all of them in a way that's just a little more efficient with the math, the way they do corners and so on. They look really, really good, even at very, very small sizes. And they just actually render way more efficiently. So it doesn't look a whole lot different, but we are now using the new version, so we're using SVG, which is kind of nice. Also, accessibility was kind of a pain in the neck in the old version. You could totally make things accessible, but it was a little more work. Now that we're using SVGs, it's actually really easy. All we have to do is put a title on this thing. So why do we need to do anything? Suppose we're using a screen reader, or for whatever reason, this image just doesn't show up. It's kind of an important thing. It's not just a decoration, right? That's how we sign out of the darn thing. So we need the word sign out to show up. So on the I tag, we just put title equals sign out. And that's what would appear there in the button if for whatever reason that glyph doesn't load, or if you're using assistive technology. We won't see any difference, except that I see title sign out over here. And it automatically adds some of the accessibility related attributes like ARIA labeled by. So that's Font Awesome 5. Use Font Awesome 5 with SVG. Questions about that? We'll be using it elsewhere too.